test, just to make sure.
Give it a little tap.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Woodstock Cricket, home of the finest handmade cricket bats and soft goods. Visit either our showroom or workshop and experience the magic for yourselves. For bookings, contact info@woodstockcricket.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to Radlett for the second of 3 Middlesex Vitality Blast T20 games from this beautiful outground here in Hertfordshire. We had an absolute cracker, didn't we, 2 days ago with Hampshire taking on Middlesex. Middlesex winning that game, but over 430 runs scored. What a day it was. If we get anything like that today, we'll be very, very happy. It's Gloucestershire who are in town today, and they look to be a very strong side on paper. No Adam Collins with me today, but we've got a very capable replacement in Andrew McKenna of TalkSport fame. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It should be an absolute belter of a game today. Two sides that need a win, and those normally produce the best sorts of games, don't they?
Absolutely, yeah. If you look at the table, it's quite interesting now, actually, because you've got Kent in the South Group. They're on 8 points, having won 4 games. Sussex and Surrey have won 3. They've got 6 points, and then the rest are all on 2 points, including Gloucestershire and Middlesex, who at the moment are bottom of the table on net run rate, despite that magnificent win 2 days ago. So already we're seeing a bit of a 2-tier system in this group, and those chasing sides could do with getting a win and just closing that gap.
Absolutely. Although there's still plenty of games to go, you don't want to be relying on having to win 5 games in a row at the end to secure it. And as you say, Kent, Sussex and Surrey have started so well. Now's not the time to be letting that gap get too opened up. So, another 2 points today. Build on what happened a couple of nights ago. That'd be perfect from a Middlesex point of view.
Absolutely, yeah. Hampshire, we'll get into the game in a moment. We're going to see the highlights and then talk about it briefly. But Hampshire used to be the kings of T20. They've been on the wane a little bit over the last few years. But Gloucestershire actually have got quite a good recent record. They've got to 3 quarter-finals and a semi-final last year since 2016. Bearing in mind that Middlesex have only got to the quarter-finals twice since 2008. Would you say Gloucestershire come into this game possibly as favourites, and maybe even a stiffer challenge potentially than Hampshire?
They certainly produce a slightly different challenge, I think. Would they be a more difficult one? I'm not sure. I mean, what they do, of course, have is a little bit of history here at Radlett, because outgrounds, sometimes some teams can go years and years without playing. But they played here back in 2019 in the Blast. Middlesex won that game by 9 runs. It was a DLS game, but Gloucestershire have played here, so they'll have a little bit of knowledge. But do you know what? I actually think Middlesex will be happier. You were talking about this the other evening with Adam, and the fact that so many of this young Middlesex squad play a lot of second team cricket here. It's kind of like it really is a home game for them. In a strange way, this will feel more normal than going to Lords and playing in that enormous stadium there. So I think Middlesex will be the happier of the two teams to be playing, and more importantly, playing here this evening.
Right, let's get you the toss and team news then before we show you some highlights. Gloucestershire have won the toss and they are going to bowl first. So Middlesex are going to have to bat on this occasion. Could be a good toss to win that, given what we saw a couple of days ago. Not an easy ground to defend at, this one. A change for Middlesex. Tim Murtagh back into the T20 side. Vastly experienced seamer. Nathan Souter is the player to miss out. Unfortunately, he's got a sprained ankle. So Middlesex's side: Sterling, Eskenazi, Cracknell, Morgan, Simpson, Green, Holman, Murtagh, Cullen, Finn and Bamber. Gloucestershire, as far as they're concerned, they've brought back Daniel Worrell and Ryan Higgins, who had a fractured toe. He's recovered, the ex-Middlesex man. So their side: Miles Hammond, Chris Dent, Ian Cobain, Glenn Phillips, Jack Taylor, the captain, Benny Howell, Daniel Worrell, Ryan Higgins, Tom Smith, another ex-Middlesex player, Josh Shaw and David Payne. Right, let's show you the highlights then from a couple of days ago, because it really was a magnificent run chase and a fantastic game all round.
Middlesex pulled off a stunning last over 3-wicket win to open their account in this year's T20 Blast on a day in Radlett that saw records broken against Hampshire by the home side. Owen Morgan won the toss and inserted, and maybe have wondered about the wisdom of that decision once Darcy Short cleared the rope off Ethan Bamber in the 3rd over, one which cost 17 runs. The 4th, delivered by Chris Green, then went for 18, all to Short, the Hawks off to a flyer. Short was timing the ball with aplomb. This effortless flick off Stephen.
Apologies. One of the problems with out-ground cricket is sometimes the equipment doesn't fully work, and we've had to come out of those highlights. They just crash. So
we could pretend to do them if you want. I mean, we could try and recreate them.
Hopefully Joe Cracknell can recreate what he did the other day. I mean, that's what we've got to talk about, isn't it, really? What an innings from the young man. 77 off 43 balls, his 2nd T20 half century. What a find for Middlesex.
what a find, what a player, and a perfect time to do it, because of course Owen Morgan hasn't got long left before he heads off to England, so Middlesex are going to need an engine room that fully fires. Well, there's a man who's laid down a marker, put down the beach towel on top of it, and said, "Thank you very much, that'll do for me."
You can imagine him being in that number 3 spot for quite a while, particularly in this Middlesex side that hasn't been the strongest in terms of batting over the years in T20 cricket. Owen Morgan, incidentally, he's got 2 more games. He's got today, and then he's got tomorrow's game away to Glamorgan. What was fascinating about that run chase was that Middlesex were 30 for 3. The big guns were back in the hutch, Sterling and Morgan, but then it was a very Owen Morgan type victory, because Cracknell and Simpson, who was also fantastic, 62 off 31 balls, didn't take a backward step, did they? They didn't even take an over just to reassess and to take stock, which is what you normally see. They just carried on going.
In a sense, that's the beauty of chasing a big target, in the fact that there's no point. You can't kill off balls. You just have to keep on going. I mean, the other thing that it did, of course, and look, stats are brilliant, but stats will prove whatever you want. And we all know the number that if you're 3 wickets down in a power play, it's 90% chance you don't win. Well, there's another of those. You can rip that up and toss it away. Thank you very much. So, and that's another positive thing for Middlesex to take out of that game. You know, they've won a game chasing more than 200 when there were 3 wickets down inside a power play. You add up those, you shouldn't be winning that, or you won't win many of them. So that's a massive thing to take forward. And Owen Morgan is such a man about confidence and sticking your chest out as if, come on, yeah, enjoy that. That was a good performance. Make the most of it. I'm pretty sure that if Souter was fit and available, it would have been probably an unchanged side, because Owen Morgan, I'm sure, would have said, right, let's go and do it again then, boys.
Yeah, Nathan Souter, I'll just remind you, unfortunately not fit. He sprained his ankle just in front of us, just down there by the railway side, going for a catch. At the time, it looked like it might have been even worse than that, but thankfully just a sprained ankle for him. Gives an opportunity, though, to the evergreen Tim Murtagh. What is he now, 39? I think he's 40 in August. He's going to have a big party, he told me then. And if you look at his record, actually, Macca, in T20 cricket, it's very good. He's played 107 games, 113 wickets at 25, economy rate 8.1 for someone who bowls in the power play. That's pretty good. He played a couple of T20s last year, actually. I think they were the first T20s he played for something like 4 or 5 years, but he played in the side that won the T20 way back in 2008. So he's a very good man to bring in.
I mean, you've got bags and bags of experience and know-how, and that is arguably what Middlesex don't have with so many youngsters in. Yes, you've got Steve Finn there, but if you can get another bowler with that experience, even if it's not actually with ball in hand themselves, that they stand at mid-off and just talk some of the younger guys through it. You know, we've all played in games where this, you know, the senior pros just had, you know, quiet word. It doesn't have to be anything brilliantly scientific or anything like that. Just a quiet word here and there, just to settle you down. Great to be able to bring in a guy of that quality. Just after the toss took place, the captains came over and had a chat with David Fulton, and he and Owen Morgan had a little sort of joke at Tim Mercer's expense, and I was just looking out on the outfield, and Murtagh looks over his shoulder towards them as if to say, okay, that's how it is today then, is it? So I think he might enjoy this one.
Interesting to see what kind of role he plays today as well. Will he take the new ball? Will John Simpson stand up to him? He stood up to him, I remember, in a game at Lord's last year, which was his comeback game against Hampshire after a few years out. So interesting to see how he goes. The toss, I think Owen Morgan would have done the same. He's won the toss and fielded. It's obviously 3 times he's done that. It's obviously tough to defend somewhere like this, but at least Middlesex know the conditions. That should stand them in good stead, and they should know what a good score is after 2 days ago.
It's worth pointing out we're on the same pitch, and that played like an absolute belter 2 days ago, so you've got that in the back of your mind. You know what's possible because you've just had a game where you've just proven with 430 runs in it, so you've got everything there. You know the angles. The one factor, we've got to be honest about this, it is getting a little bit dark. There are getting some clouds in. Now, it's not raining at the moment. The stumps are in. So we will start. As you can see, though, it's not the most hospitable of evenings, and therefore the advantage in batting second is not only the ability to chase, but also DLS and being able to pace that chase. So that is going to be a big factor this evening. So yeah, it is a slightly different thing, setting, isn't it, as opposed to chasing, but it's bats versus ball, batsman versus bowler, batsman versus fielding team. So it's the same process. Can you just do it the other way around?
Ground staff have done a pretty good job here actually today. Heavy rain in the London area overnight, but it's been pretty clear most of the day. Obviously grounds like these don't have the same drainage as Lord's Cricket Ground and the other big stadiums around the country, so they've really had to work hard, and conditions absolutely fine at the moment. It's very dry because we haven't had rain for a while. Those are the clouds that Mako was talking about. They have just come in. It wasn't that bad about half an hour ago. They've just sort of come in on us a little bit from all sides. But I should say the forecast is about 50% chance of rain, which basically means that it could not rain for the whole evening, and it could rain for the entire evening. It's just one of those days, we just don't know.
Well, absolutely. I mean, yesterday evening, apparently, we were going to get the end of days around 9 o'clock, and it didn't happen. So let's hope that we get ourselves a full game in, and it would be nice if maybe a bit of breeze picked up, just to help blow some of this through, because at the moment, it is quite still. It feels like what's here is going to stay for a while. So I don't know, maybe if everyone watching at home, you can just open the window and just sort of blow a bit and try and push it. Maybe we'll get the people over in the cheap seats over there to, I don't know, wave their arms around or whatever, and try and get a bit of breeze.
Should mention we've got a decent crowd in again today, coming up towards 1,000 people. Really has been a good atmosphere actually. A couple of days ago, that's the pavilion. I think that's Gus Fraser looking grumpy there at the top. Is that Gus? Yeah, it is. Of course it is. Grumpy git. Look at him. Telling a story.
Well, either that or he's auditioning for a role as a weatherman.
Socially distancing. The players all at the front there. They've got a little marquee which they use as well. And that's where most of the spectators are. They're down by the railway side. You'll hear the trains going past regularly. They're very noisy. Heading up towards the north. I think we've got a few more to come in as well, hopefully. And fingers crossed it will remain dry for us as well. When Middlesex come to bowl, I think we're going to find out quite a bit about some of these young bowlers at the moment. I looked at the stats, and no Middlesex bowler has an economy rate under 9.25. So I think with Murtagh in the lineup, that might settle down some of the younger guys, the likes of Bamber and Cullen, who, to be fair, bowled really well in the last 2 games.
I think actually over the course of the season, and it sounds a daft thing to say, we're such a short amount of time into this T20 Blast campaign, but I've got to say Blake Cullen has really impressed me. That first game against Surrey, obviously, you know, he had his problems, but he's worked through it and he's improved game by game by game. And the bowling against Hampshire, there was some zip in it, there was some definite carry through. You could see the progression. And yes, I know, you know, there's been a lot of talk about this Middlesex squad in the players who aren't here, and therefore it's a very young squad who are playing. But turn it around from their point of view. They might have got the odd game here or there if everyone was available. But what they're getting is a run of 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. And that's a great thing from their point of view. Not in and out. They've got some consistency of selection. They know they're going to play. Turn that around. Use it as a positive for yourself. You know, I think, you know, yes, it's easy to say, oh, well, we haven't got such and such available for this game. It'd be great to have them back. But actually, the guys have just, we keep mentioning, they've just chased down 215. They can't be that. They can't be that bad. So actually, yeah, turn it into your advantage. Right, I've got 3 or 4 games. We mentioned it before. Owen Morgan is going to be leaving in a couple of games' time. So there's a middle order place coming up. Someone's got to fill that. Great opportunity. That's the way I'd be telling. If it was myself, that's the way I'd be telling myself. I've got a great opportunity to impress captain, coach, director of cricket. Here is my chance.
Yeah, Blake Cullen's figures a couple of days ago against Hampshire: 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 29, which in the context of the game was a fantastic effort. Hampshire scored 215 off their 20 overs, and they were 68 without loss off 5 overs when Cullen came into the attack. So he was the catalyst for turning it around. And then, of course, it was that magnificent run chase, which was led by Joe Cracknell and John Simpson. Cracknell 77 off 43, Simpson 62 off 31, and then the experienced overseas off-spinner Chris Green saw them home with 26 not out of just 13 balls. But he'll be relied on more with the ball, you would think, today. With the bat, we're going to have Paul Sterling and Stevie Eskenazi opening up for Middlesex. We know how Mr. Sterling's going to play, and he hit, I would say, the biggest 6 2 days ago on the short boundary over the top of the offside into one of those big trees there on that side there.
We've seen some fabulous shots already in the Blast this year. I suppose it's the advantage of it being dry for the last couple of weeks. Pitches have dried out, they're true. If you hit through the line clean enough. Yeah, and here's 2 guys who can most definitely do that. I mean, Sterling's strike rate this year, 205. Can't really argue with that, can you?
Not too shabby. He looked fantastic against Surrey in the first game. Hit the ball extremely hard. Such fast hands, hasn't he? Playing as an overseas player at Middlesex this year. Remember, he spent 10 years at the club until 2019 when he was forced to choose between Ireland and Middlesex, unfortunately, due to changes in rules and regulations and the fact that Ireland were now a test nation. He chose Ireland, but great to see him back playing as an overseas. He won't face the first ball. It'll be Stevie Eskenazi to do that, and it's going to be Daniel Worrell, Australian overseas fast bowler, to bowl that first ball. He's been brought into the side today. Played a lot of T20 cricket in Australia in the Big Bash for the Melbourne Stars and the Adelaide Strikers. Very good bowler. And we are off. Good start by Worrell, that, and a good single as well. Good positive start by Stevie Eskenazi.
Absolutely. Get a run a ball. Get a run off everything that you can. If it's that mentality now, isn't it? It starts of, can I hit it for a boundary? If I can't, no. Where can I push it? And where can I get something to get the score ticking over? So they've got an early one through. That's a nice one to get them going. Decent delivery, in fairness. There or thereabouts. That's all you can ask for. You don't want to be coming in rank half volley or a short and wide one, giving the batsman an easy one to start with.
Good cricket, as Jeffrey would say. That was a terrible Jeffrey Boycott impersonation. Sorry about that.
I thought he was from Barnsley. Oh, that's some carry there. Now, we didn't see that much the other evening, did we?
Bit of swing as well, actually. It feels like a swinging day, doesn't it? Kind of thick air that's hanging around here, low cloud. Worrell is a swinger. You know what I mean.
So you obviously know him better than I do. Right. So a slip and a gully. Backward point. That's just nice from the crease, isn't it? Nice and comfortable. It's the solid start, isn't it? As opposed to the crash bang wallop. And maybe not the worst thing. If you've been used to chasing, just take a couple of balls. You can always take a couple of balls at this stage, can't you? Just to get your eye in, get yourself ready.
Changing the field for Eskenazi, so you've got a man going out on the leg side for him. There's a third man and a deep square leg, the two men out on the boundary. Oh, good ball again. So there's that shape for Worrell. Decent start.
Absolutely. Benny Howell standing there at slip might be thinking to himself he could be in business shortly here. Some good carry on this though, isn't there?
Good pitch, really good pitch. Club wicket this, got to remember that. And again, Eskenazi just throws the hands at that one. Could do with a score actually, Stevie Eskenazi. Got one a couple of days ago. 4 against Kent. Started off with 36 of 33 balls against Surrey. But when you've got Paul Sterling at the other end, you know you can just sit in. You don't need to go hell for leather. Just provide him with a bit of support. He's never going to score slowly. Again, just that bit of a way shape. That's a very good first over by Worrell. Goes for just 2.
Yeah, it's a cracking start if you're a fielding side, isn't it? No freebies. Had a look at both batsmen, and you've seen the ball with carry and pace. From a point of view from the batting side, though, nothing massively alarming. Again, just have a look, see what's going to happen.
Now, David Payne is going to bowl the second over of this game. Middlesex will know all about him. He was Middlesex's destroyer in the county championship game at Lords. 11 for he took in that game. Swung the ball at pace. Oh, and he swings immediately into the pads of Paul Sterling. That's what he's looking for. Late swing. Try and trap the right-handed batsman. He's got protection on the leg side. Pretty smart. Deep square leg. That's out on the far boundary down towards the train tracks. And for Sterling as well, he's got a man sweeping on the offside. Sterling so strong through the offside. Bang. Down the track. Slices him over the top. Goes aerial on purpose there, Sterling. And we have our first boundary of the game.
Just a statement of intent, really, isn't it? We've had a few balls of the innings so far, so thank you very much, but it's time to get on to it, says Paul Sterling, and he got himself into position, and away it goes. 4 wickets for David Payne in the tournament so far this year. 3 of those in the same game, 3 for 30.
Same again. Goes leg side this time, but he picks out Ryan Higgins at short fine leg. They're going to come back for 2. Good running. That was a bit unlucky really from Sterling. Nice idea to go with the swing. Just needed to get it either side of Higgins, just 1 or 2 yards. That would have flown away to the boundary.
Well, I think Sterling's made a decision here, hasn't he? He's made a decision that Payne is going, or at least that's the intention.
Good comeback from David Payne. Yeah, you can see what Sterling wants to do. He's seen it swinging first ball. He's thought, oh, well, I'm not going to let it swing. I'm going to get down the track and meet it. If he stays in for a while, this could be very entertaining. Don't think I've ever seen Paul Sterling scratch around in T20. He either goes early or he scores quickly. Short, cramped up Sterling a bit there. Just going to pick up a single out to Chris Dent on the leg side boundary.
Didn't get all of it, but in a way, if you're not going to get all of it, get about 50% of it, because with the field as it is at this stage, it'll just lob nicely out 2 or 3 bounces out to that sweeper on the leg side, rather than flirt with danger. Worth mentioning, it's so still, there's no breeze, so that it's not as if you're hitting into the wind one way or the other. It is genuinely a short side and a long side.
Width for Eskenazi, and he likes that. Throws the hands at that delivery again in a similar area to Sterling's boundary. Goes up and over the man behind square on the offside, and that's a good end to the over for Middlesex. 13 without loss.
Well, all the things we said about the first over, the fact that the batsmen weren't really able to free their arms, that over, unfortunately, from a Gloucestershire point of view, they were able to. Just a little bit of width on offer there. Middlesex able to take advantage of it. And 2 after the first, 13 without loss after the second. And what's Worrell got for us here?
So for the first time he gets his line slightly wrong. No swing there. Glenn Phillips in your picture is the other overseas for Gloucestershire. He's had a pretty good start to his season, actually, the New Zealander. He's been consistent. He's their top scorer at the moment. Got to 40 3 times. 124 at 41. Strike rate 151. He really goes after it, Phillips. There was a rumour that he might be used as an off-spinner today, and James Bracey would keep. Down the track, Eskenazi. That one just probably about 4th or 5th stump line, bit of bounce. But going back to James Bracey, he's here. Came up with the squad, not selected. Must say I was expecting to see him out there.
Well, especially after he played a second team game 2 days ago. So, yes, when we saw he was in the squad, you kind of expect he would play, but no, not selected.
That's been wiped straight. Again, not timed that well, but that will roll away down the hill. Bit agricultural from Stevie Eskenazi, but it's 4 in the book. The key thing there, he just hit that dead straight like an arrow.
You can't beat a pull through mid-on, can you?
I think Paul's being kind. It was a wipe, I think. Goes across. Oh, nasty. He's got pin there, Eskenazi, I think on his right shoulder.
I think it's his grill. Seemed to maybe grip in the surface. He's trying to flip it around, but maybe it gripped in the surface. I mean, we didn't get that sort of clank noise that you quite often get with the helmet, but...
Sounded fleshy, I think. I think he might have taken his helmet off because it maybe hit him on the shoulder and then bounced up onto the grill, but physio's not going to come on, so it clearly didn't hit him on the helmet. Well, good bouncer, I think, from Daniel Worrell. Phillips managed to swallow that at the second attempt. Good change up there. I don't think Sterling was expecting that.
No, absolutely. Worrell has been very impressive, hasn't he? I mean, I know we're only partway through his second over, but the first one very impressive. And yeah, just that variation. You've got to be able to have that short ball in your armoury, haven't you? You can't use it very often, but that surprise ball.
Oh, sharp movement in there. That decked in off the seam from Worrell. Tidy over that one. Just 6 coming from it. 19 without loss, Middlesex after 3. I think quite a few of the bowlers will be encouraged by the seam movement we saw on that final delivery.
Yeah, I'm not surprised Paul Sterling's just having a little wander around and tapping a few things down. It does look like a couple have gripped. So, Eskenazi to face. Shaw is coming on. Josh Shaw. 6 wickets in the tournament so far for him.
Sharp single. Well done. Yeah, he's the leading wicket taker for Gloucestershire so far this season. Small sample size, of course, just 3 games, but he's taken 6 at 13. Economy rate 8.2. Just 25 years old, Josh Shaw. Came up through the Yorkshire age groups, and his father, Chris, played for Yorkshire in the 80s. Made the move south and west to Gloucestershire. Again, good bouncer. You can see what the tactics are here, can't you, from the Gloucestershire fast bowlers? I think it's something they've spoken about, really, with Sterling. You've got to have a game plan for someone like him, and clearly the short ball is one they're going to use.
Well, they've either discussed this or spotted something when they were out having a look at the pitch earlier, because there was no hint of this 2 nights ago, was there? So it's not as if they've done their research watching that, gone, right, okay, we've got to get it in and get some bounce. We didn't see any of this 2 nights ago. This is a very different style of game of cricket.
Oh, hang on, he hasn't got that. He's towed it. Easy catch for the captain, Jack Taylor. That's a big blow for Middlesex. That ball looked like it was in the slot for Paul Sterling, but he got nothing of that, really. The ball just plinked off the bottom of his bat, went straight up in the air, and Gloucestershire have their first wicket.
Absolutely. And you can't help but think that shot is the result of a couple of the deliveries. Paul Sterling has thought to himself, that one is in my arc, therefore I'm going to have a go at that one, and it just wasn't quite there. And unfortunately, from Middlesex's point of view, Paul Sterling's innings is over. What it does do is he gets a young man who's in decent nick into the middle quite early on, and he gets a good hand. Wonder how many of the people here this evening were here a couple of nights ago and have got fond memories of what they watched.
He certainly deserves one. 77 off 43 balls. It was a magical knock, really. Came in when the side were in deep trouble. 30 for 3, facing 215. Eskenazi, though, will face as they crossed. He gets off strike again, which brings the young man Cracknell on strike. Product of North Middlesex Cricket Club, as we mentioned yesterday, like a few others in the setup, the likes of Luke Holman, Ethan Bamber. And this looks like it's the latest North Middlesex Cricket Club star on your screens. Bit of swing for Shaw. It's been a really good first over this by Josh Shaw. Impressive. He's mixed it up. Bowled the short ball well. Found a bit of swing there.
Well, I'm going to stick my neck out and say I don't think we're looking at 215. This feels...
You've gone early, Mac.
I've gone early. I will be happy to be proved wrong, but it feels a very different game.
Well, that's a good ball. Squared up Cracknell, who gets sent back by Eskenazi. Top over that by Josh Shaw. 1 wicket and just 2 runs conceded. Definitely slightly different conditions today at Radlett. We've seen a lot more swing in these 4 overs than we saw on a beautiful day 2 days ago when Middlesex beat Hampshire and chased down 215. Goes right across his stumps, Eskenazi. Come over to my side, he says. Hoiks to the short boundary. Doesn't get all of that, and that's well fielded by Ian Cobain on the boundary there. Right idea, though, from Eskenazi.
Well, you won't find that in many traditional coaching manuals, but that's not to say it's not effective. You play to where the fielders aren't. Took a brilliant bit of work from Cobain to prevent that being 4.
Swing and a miss.
Again, though, there's bounce and carry. Well, we mentioned earlier, Tim Murtagh back in the side for Middlesex, combined with Stephen Finn, with Blake Cullen. This could be quite interesting. It's not necessarily the style of game everyone was expecting, but it might have worked out.
That's in the slot for Eskenazi. He absolutely nails that one, but picks out the man at point, and then there's almost a run out. That would have been some way to go, wouldn't it? Shy at the stumps, just missed, I think. And Cracknell was well short. That would have been a huge moment had we seen a direct hit there. Good bit of fielding by Miles Hammond. That was hit really hard.
It was indeed. It did feel that was runs all the way. You feel robbed as a batsman if you've timed one that well, and then ended up having to scamper to get a single for it.
Throws his hands at that one, Eskenazi, and this time he finds the gap. And that races away down the hill towards the train tracks. Important boundary, that. Just getting Middlesex back on track after a good last 6 or 8 balls from Gloucestershire.
Yeah, that could have been that previous delivery, couldn't it? This time, though, he finds the gap, and he'll feel much happier about that. Of course, we've got to desanitize the ball. Or no, sorry, sanitize the ball. If we desanitize it, we'll be doing all sorts. Obviously, someone's been to a fast food restaurant and picks up a load of wipes from somewhere.
Full, very full. Good Yorker, actually. Wide Yorker. Cracknell on 4. It was Cracknell rather than Eskenazi who hit that boundary. So the young man is away. Oh, up and over. One bounce, and that's gone over the boundary for 4. Saw a bit of that a couple of days ago. You do not want to bowl it anywhere near Joe Cracknell's arc. He's very strong, straight, and on the pull as well.
Cracking shot. Cracking shot, just weighted in. And thank you very much. I'll be taking that one on. At the moment, it seems that David Payne is just going to be having a tough old evening. Sometimes this happens in T20 cricket, doesn't it? He doesn't seem to have got it quite where he wants at the moment as Shaw continues.
Backs away Eskenazi. In fact, he gave himself too much room, really. In the end, he couldn't reach that delivery. Shaw did well there. Saw Eskenazi backing away and just hung the ball outside off stump.
Just on a slightly obscure point, have any of the bowlers made any comment about after the ball's been sanitised with the wipe? Does it behave any differently? I know we've got a very small sample size so far.
Sliced away, straight at Daniel Worrell, who I think the ball hit him rather than he fielded it.
Absolutely.
No,
I just wondered because they spend so much time trying to keep the ball dry, and then of course you've got this antibacterial wipe. Now I know it sort of evaporates pretty quickly, but you wonder if it'll have an effect on the ball.
I haven't heard any complaints, surprisingly, and I don't think the scores have been any different. I don't think that we've seen higher scores because the ball hasn't been swinging so much.
Let's be fair, if the bowlers were going to complain, we'd have heard about it. Good evening,
Absolutely.
bowlers.
That's a wide. Well taken, Glenn Phillips. Yeah, you're right. We would have heard Jimmy Anderson or Stuart Broad or the like complaining about it in the media. I haven't heard anything like that at all. So maybe the sanitizer's actually been decent for the ball in terms of getting a nice shine.
Well, If someone deliberately lobs one up that gets melted into the stand and then starts hooping around, you'll know why.
Again, that's in the slot. And Cracknell goes hard and straight. Didn't get the elevation this time, but he was accurate.
It's just a basic cricket shot, hit really hard and very cleanly. There's not a huge amount of movement. It's keep your balance, move your foot to the pitch of the ball, and swing through the line. It's basic in terms of technique, but my goodness, it's effective.
Oh, he's picked that one up to the leg side. He's not going to pick up 4, though. Chris Dent comes around. He's the man sweeping on the leg side boundary, and Cracknell comes back for 2. Another example of his really fast hands. That was the thing that really stood out a couple of days ago. Those hands that just get through the ball so quickly. That's why he's so good at playing those shots, the pick-up shots and the pulls across the line.
Absolutely. As a result, second man going out on the leg side sweep. So a sort of square leg and cow corner.
Will he go offside? Well bowled. Could have perhaps given himself room there, Cracknell, and tried to pierce the offside. That's where the space is now, or he can go straight. Bit of a strange field. It obviously shows you what Gloucestershire think of the way that James Cracknell plays. They've got a deep mid-wicket and a deep square leg, so they think he's very much a leg side Larry. Likes the pull, which is true, but he can hit through the offside as well. Like that. Especially when you bowl it there. I don't think that was particularly good bowling, but that was hit very hard, wasn't he? Just melted that through the offside, and that is the end of the power play. So not quite as destructive a power plays as we saw 2 days ago. Hampshire was 71 without loss at the end of the power play. Middlesex were 58 for 3. Today, a bit more sedate, 44 for 1.
That ball got to the boundary in a hurry, about as quick as that train that's going past actually at the moment. That hit the advertising board before anyone had really seen it. That was so clean. What a shot that is. Now then, Higgins. Interesting conversation, of course, with Worrell. 2 experienced players having a chat with each other. Worrell bowled so well earlier. Might as well pick his brain.
Skenazi goes across. Oh, chance for a run out there. That would have been out. Had Glenn Phillips hit there. He had all 3 stumps to aim at as well. I thought that was a pretty good opportunity for him, really, with the glove off. Eskenazi just wandering out of his crease.
It was strange cricket all round that one, really. He missed a relatively straight one that he was trying to work leg side. And then all of a sudden the possibility of the leg by came into the equation. What can Cracknell do?
So lots more protection now. Will they go for 2? No. End of the power play, and the field is spread. We've got a couple of men out on the offside, the third man and a deep point, and 3 on the leg side, a long on, a deep square leg, and a wide, deep fine leg. Higgins, ex-Middlesex, of course. Left as he wanted more red ball opportunities and wanted to bat higher up in the side, and it's worked out brilliantly for him in his 4th year at Gloucestershire, particularly in first-class cricket. He's been an absolute revelation with the ball. Ooh, down the track. Well bowled. Just inside the wide line. I think he went wide and full. Cracknell came down a bit early there.
Of course, our umpires this evening, 2 bowlers, Hartley and Saggers. I'm not going to say that if we had a batsman standing as an umpire, he might have given that as a wide, but it might help.
Oh, it's well bowled again. He's nailed 2 wide Yorkers in his first over, Higgins. He's got great control, hasn't he? His first-class stats are incredible, Macca, really. 46 games, 160 wickets at 21. Frightening. Batting at 6 now in the championship side as well. And he's a very useful T20 all-rounder. Wow, he's done it again. Good single. Almost immediately going to death bowling.
I can hear in the back of my head 2 of my commentary muckers, Darren Goff and Alex Tudor, going, that's how you do it. Both of them absolutely do their nut on a regular basis. Why do bowlers not bowl Yorkers anymore? I'm sure there are many reasons, theories and all that, but there are how many old sorry lads, how many old time bowlers will tell you just go Yorkers. In fact, Tudor will always say, bowl your best ball more often than not. If you're that confident it's your best ball, it's not going to get hit. That's a brilliant over. I mean, realistically, what could Middlesex have done better in that over? Not a lot.
Benny Howell on, talking of death bowling in Yorkers. Keeper up to the stumps. Starts with a slowie, I think, straight away. That's what he does, Benny Howell. So good at changing his pace. I totally get that argument about the Yorker, but I think the issue is nowadays, if you miss it even slightly, if it's a low full toss or even almost a Yorker, the batsman now can dig him out and get him up and over. Pulled across the line. Just the one out to Chris Dent, the championship captain for Gloucestershire.
It goes round in fashions, doesn't it, in circles. So for a while the Yorker will go out and because we'll bowl it into the deck slightly short of a length, and then as the batsmen work that out, and then they get a strategy, then they'll go full and wide, and then once they've got it'll just go round in circles. It's bound to.
Picking out the men on the boundaries here at the moment, Middlesex. Yeah, remember the World T20 or T20 World Cup, which we won, and the slow ball bouncer was very much the story of that, wasn't it? That was all the rage for a while.
And it's still a really useful delivery as a surprise.
Must say it's been a really good start with the ball by Gloucestershire. They're a really organised outfit in T20 cricket. Got a good record both in 50 over and T20 over the last few years, this group of players. Again, slower ball and well played on that occasion by Eskenazi. He just waited for that one. Cute little back cut behind square, and crucially this time he just beat the man.
Well, that's the 8th 4 of the innings. We're in the 8th over. This is a T20 game. That just makes the point of what you're just saying there, Matt, isn't it? There's been very little in terms of hittable deliveries. Don't get frustrated if you're Middlesex. Stay strong, stay with it, and go at the back end.
Could be 2 here. That's what Eskenazi said. No, Howell does well. He's quick. Gets to that delivery quicker than the batsman thought he would. So it's just the 1. Good start by Howell. Such a tricky bowler to negotiate with all of his subtle changes of pace. Middlesex have a base. Might want to just start going through the gears now.
Yep, we're now, 2 short of the halfway mark. So it's going to be the case that the accelerator's got to be thought about, but it's got to be well thought out.
Oh, he's really got hold of that again, but picks out one of the men on that leg side boundary, the short side. Bit frustrating for Eskenazi. He's done that a couple of times. Pick out the man on that short side when he's absolutely nailed the ball.
What's that thing, isn't it, about bowling to your field? And, I mean, a yard either side of him is 4, but from a bowler's point of view, he's hit it straight to the man.
Oh, the chance of a run out here, that would have been long gone. Daniel Worrell with the chance. Good pick up and quick throw. Cracknell was well short there, with the ball almost bounced over the stumps, really.
Worrell's only just taken his hands off his head. That's how close it was. Was it a calculated risk? Well, you might as well have a go at this stage.
Oh, again, the wide Yorker from Ryan Higgins. Oh, that's a good throw from the keeper, Glenn Phillips, but it was well run in the end. Cracknell well home there. Just starting to take a few more risks now between the wickets. Maybe this is the first sign of the next gear being found by Middlesex.
Absolutely. Goes back to the point we made earlier. If you can't hit it for 4, get something from the delivery. Get something that will keep the scoreboard ticking over. Even if you're in your head, it's only a 1. It's still a 1. It's 1 more to the total.
Just missed his Yorker there, Higgins, but it was near enough. Hard to get those away, those low full tosses that are wide.
We're getting to wonder if there's a magnet in this ball. It's finding the fielders with unerring accuracy at the moment.
No timing from Eskenazi. He's struggling a little bit at the moment. Not quite at his best. He was Middlesex's best batsman last year in T20 cricket. Leading run scorer. Bit of a breakout year for him with the bat in the shortest format. Another dot ball though. This plan really working for Ryan Higgins at the moment. 60 off 9. As you said, it's not going to be 215, is it?
Well, if it is, the second half's going to be worth watching. I guess the thing from this point is, if you are these two batsmen, do not let yourself get frustrated here. You know, you've got to this stage, you're both in the mid-20s, and you both faced 20-odd and 18 balls respectively. You know, it's don't get caught up, oh, I've got to get on with it and start thrashing and make the situation worse. Stay calm. Whatever the game plan is, stay with it. You might be frustrated. You might be looking at that scoreboard, seeing 60 for 1 after 9. Don't worry. This isn't Tuesday night. This is Thursday night. It's a different game against different opposition in different conditions. You know, don't compare, because you're not comparing like with like.
First sign of spin. Tom Smith into the attack. Got a warm round of applause from the fans here who remember his Middlesex days. Immediate slog sweep. This might be a chance. It is. Oh, unfortunately, we've had a collision. That could have been nasty. Dent and Hammond both going for that delivery. I think Dent actually had that ball. I think he would have caught it had Hammond not ploughed into him. Could have been nasty, though, Macca. Could have been head on head.
Absolutely. Now, the one thing about the outground is we can hear things. I didn't hear a call. And we all think back to age group cricket, schools cricket. They always say put a name on it, don't they? Realistically, professional cricket level, that should be the second out.
A life for Cracknell. Can he take advantage? Quicker arm ball fired in by Smith into off stump. You can see, though, that Cracknell fancies a piece of Smith straight away. He is hitting to the longer boundary there with that slog sweep, much longer than the other side. Down the track he goes, and again he goes to the leg side, this time well short of the man at long on who comes round, just a single.
3 men out on the leg side, and long on is quite wide. I wonder if he's going to be tempted to straighten up in future and maybe go back over the bowler's head.
Eskenazi was exactly the same area that Cracknell's been targeting. But yeah, you're right. There's a big open space between the wide, long on and long off. Need to go dead straight and you'll find the boundary. Could be two. No, loud call of no from Eskenazi. Decent start by Smith, who's firing his deliveries in at the moment. Not trying to turn it too much. And frustrating these two Middlesex batsmen initially. Should have had a wicket. That's really fired in. Things going to plan at the moment for Gloucestershire. We're halfway through this first innings, 66 for 1. So you get the impression Middlesex are trying to up the ante, but it's just not working at the moment. Eskenazi in particular just hasn't found his flow yet. Just going at a runner ball at the moment.
There's some really crisp shots. They're just finding the fielders, aren't they? All they need is a couple of those to be a couple of metres either side, and all of a sudden the runs will start flowing. So at the moment, the run rate is for a total of 130. They want to be getting that to around 150. Payne to carry on. Up and over. Well fielded. They've been tidy, haven't they, Gloucestershire?
They have. They've been good in the field, apart from that unfortunate drop in the previous over. But they've really worked to a plan, haven't they? You can see that the bowlers executing well. They've bowled wide when they've had to and had cover, men in the right places.
And across him once again. Again, decent pace on it. Good carry through. Dot balls, gold dust in this form of the game, aren't they? Now that's coming our way. Welcome. Oh, it lands just over the top of the tent. Floydie was on his way out to catch it.
I was ready. I was poised there. I thought it was coming straight down my throat.
You had a good solid base.
I did. I was ready. I've been practicing. I've been going to Hampstead Cricket Club on Wednesday nights. That was a great shot from Stevie Eskenazi. Or, sorry, Joe Cracknell, I should say. I should have known it was Cracknell the way that sailed over our heads. Beautiful inside-out shot over long off. Just kept on sailing, that one.
Well, that was a perfect shot. Just what Middlesex needed.
Almost, boys. Hello, mate, you're right. Almost got one. Bounced over the top, didn't it?
Morrell's come out to long off for Payne. That's not going to be coming our way, though, out there.
That's almost the story of the innings so far, isn't it? Is the wide Yorkers that have just been nailed so far by the Gloucestershire fast bowlers. Ian Harvey, of course, is their coach. Legend of white ball cricket, T20 cricket, not just for Gloucestershire, but for Australia as well. Excellent bowler.
Now that might have found the gap, and has. Not necessarily where he was aiming, but all donations gratefully received.
Through his hands of that one, Joe Cracknell. Just wasn't quite the Yorker length that Payne was going for, and at this level, if you get your length slightly wrong, the batsmen are good enough to get you away for 4. Got a big piece of that, actually. Managed to get it up and over as well. So Cracknell now moving well ahead of Eskenazi. He's on 38, Eskenazi on 28. It's the young man again who's starting to up the ante for Middlesex.
11 off this over already. Is this the moment that the button gets pushed? Well, there's a feather on that goes through. And it's 2 according to the scorebook, but that doesn't really tell the tale.
Out of hit, for sure. Cracknell's had a bit of luck with the running. Could have been run out a couple of times. But now Middlesex just keen to really throw some risk into their stroke play and their running. Looks like Cracknell's changing something, maybe his gloves.
I think from where he dived in, wasn't it? They all like to have bone dry, clean gloves just to make sure that you've got the grip on the bat. Well, it's 9 to go. 9 wickets in the hutch. It's time for a bit of NASA. It's time for some launch pad. Send some stuff into the space.
I thought you meant Nasser Hussain there.
Oh, goodness, no.
What are you talking about?
No, he's not going to turn around and point to the number on the back of his shirt. Well, at least I hope he's not.
Definitely don't want Nasser in this situation. I'll just block it. Here's Tom Smith.
Left arm around. And that is stumped by quite a long distance. Well, we knew that the button had been pushed and the rate was going to be try and increased. But unfortunately, that one was, well, it was there to be hit, but Eskenazi didn't.
It was a good bit of bowling from Tom Smith. He just held that one back. He's been firing the ball in so far, but he took some off that one. He had a feeling, I think, that Eskenazi was going to come down the track. Held it back, totally deceived the Middlesex opener, who's gone for a runner ball 28. Just couldn't quite get going. And now it's the England captain to the crease, Owen Morgan, in his penultimate game for Middlesex. What can he do? He's not had a big score yet this season. What's he got so far? He got 3 against Hampshire, 32 off 17 against Surrey, 27 off 27 against Kent. So a couple of half-decent knocks, but he'll want to get one big one under his belt before he goes into the bubble for the England-Sri Lanka series starting at the end of next week.
Nice time to come in. Not too early, but long enough that you can play proper cricket. You're not going to thrash from the outset. And that's just a solid punch, isn't it? Just to get yourself underway.
I don't think Smith will want to bowl at Morgan too much. He'll want him at the other end because he's hitting with the spin towards the shorter boundary. He'd much rather bowl at Cracknell, I'm sure. Try and get another catch out on the longer boundary.
Yeah, that's the reputation thing, isn't it? But of course, we watched the way Cracknell played the other evening, and it's almost choose your poison at the moment, isn't it? Yes, you got the reputation of Owen Morgan, but Cracknell's in cracking form, if I may be bold enough to go down that road.
Absolutely. Probably don't really want to bowl at either of them at the moment, but just with that short boundary and the left-hander, Morgan's going to be eyeing it up. He loves hitting to the leg side. Probably will give himself a couple of balls to get in.
I think if he faced a few more, that would have been flayed somewhere. But as you say, as he's relatively new to the crease, Morgan, that was just sort of flat batted out. Thank you very much. I'll get a single and take myself up the other end. He's got hold of that, but not quite enough for the maximum. 4, though, will be certainly taken by Middlesex at this point. End of 12, 82 for 2.
Just ticked over to 86. Scoreboard was
apologies.
a bit behind, and that means that Cracknell's up to 45. He's on the verge here of back-to-back half-centuries. A third in his career, this would be. It's been a really eye-catching start by him in the shortest format. And it's led to a change in bowling. Shaw coming back on to bowl. This time he's switching ends. He bowled initially from the Salters field end. He's now coming on from the pavilion end.
1 for 14 from his 2 so far. Long on in place. Square leg in place on the boundary and deep long leg on the leg side. And a square cover for Owen Morgan. He's just going to drop this though to point. And no run.
He can take a few balls to get going, Owen Morgan, actually. We saw that in the IPL. Didn't have a great season in truth. Of course, the IPL didn't finish. It was abandoned and will be restarted.
Well, I was about to say you paid for the whole bat, you might as well use it, but Owen probably doesn't pay for them. But he still turned that one down to third man.
Yeah, going back to the IPL, he really had a bit of a shocker, really.
I mean, in fairness to him, the Knight Riders has been a difficult franchise for a couple of years, hasn't it? And captaincy is almost as big a job as batting for them in many respects. I did find it odd that it took them as long as they did to say, hang on a minute, we've got a captain here who's won the World Cup. It's not working out. Why don't we actually get him on board and let him lead the show? That was landing somewhere near Watford, I would suggest, if he'd actually caught that one cleanly. Cracknell decided that was the one.
Well, there was a train going by at the time. I think he was trying to get the ball in one of the carriages there. That's where he was aiming. Yeah, Kolkata Knight Riders, when you look at them on paper, fantastic side. I thought they were going to win it this year. Near the bottom of the table, about halfway through.
Swing and a miss, strike one. Just needs to keep his head at this point.
Beautiful, Showy.
Good work from Shaw there. Yeah, you can make cases though for all the franchises, can't you? I mean, I'm a Sunrisers Hyderabad fan, so let's not go too deep into the IPL. At the
Orange
moment.
Army.
Yes. We're back to the full wide stuff that is squeezed out. Oh my goodness, and he gets 4 for it. It was a great attempt. But again, full and wide, and all he's really done is sort of squeezed it out on the offside, but timed so well. I mean, 4 for that.
Great timing. That was Yorker. That was nailed by Josh Shaw. It just flew off the bat of Cracknell. Did really well. Unfortunate from Chris Den. Almost saved the boundary.
That would have been close. But it's fortunately a single completed to take Cracknell to another half century.
It's been a quick one again. Just over 30 balls. 34 balls, I'm hearing. So not quite as quick as the other day. 24 balls that was, to go with his 22 ball half century last season against Kent. But still, that is quick enough. Strike rate just under 150. What an impressive young man he is.
But can't do much more, can he, really? He's got an opportunity as a youngster in the first team. And he's had 2 innings, and he's made runs in both. 7 fours and 1 6 in that 50. And he's facing Benny Howell, who regularly is there or thereabouts in the best player of the campaign because he's such a multifaceted player. He can do just about everything. I know the cricket analyst Jared Kimber absolutely loves Benny Howell. I think he actually tried to marry him one point, but I think Jared's wife objected. So, but he absolutely loves Benny. Says he does everything.
Anyone you'd like to marry? Cricketers?
Joss Butler. I had a proper man crush on Joss Butler a couple of years back. I mean, in fairness, Chris Green's probably going to get a few. I mean, he probably needs to check.
He's a handsome man, isn't
he needs to check his bag at the end of every game to make sure that Charlie Dagnall's not in his kit bag. But Owen Morgan's got plenty of fans around the world, and the reason is shots like that.
Clean strike from Owen Morgan. First 6 off his bats. That disappeared sharpish. That's his area, isn't it? Loves hitting to sort of wide, long on, round towards deep mid-wicket. Is that the shot that's going to get him going? It might take a while to get this ball back, actually. When you hit towards the Salters field end, it tends to run away into that field over the other side. Then they'll have to sanitise the ball. It'll get kicked back to the... There you go. Don't touch it. You're not allowed to touch it, Benny, because it's been touched by the supporters, I think. And then Peter Hartley will sanitise and pass back. Bit of a process.
It sounds stupid, but you've got to remember as a player, you can't pick up a ball that's thrown back to you. Oh! Morgan done for pace there. Very well bowled by Howley. Just disguised that one, and Morgan threw the shot.
He's got probably the best changes of pace in county cricket, Benny Howell. Certainly up there. Knuckleballs. He bowls knuckleballs, doesn't he? All kinds of slower balls.
Oh, Cracknell's placed that beautifully. Chase on, but all in vain. The previous single brought up the 100, and that will add to it.
Just had a bit of width, didn't he? Just enough to throw his hands at that delivery. Another off-pace ball from Benny Howell. But Cracknell is motoring now.
Tickle. No one down there.
He didn't mean it that fine, but you know what? He opened the face there. He was trying to beat the man at short third man on the inside. That's exactly what he did. He obviously didn't want to edge it as much as that, but that was a clever shot, showing a bit of guile as well as power.
Absolutely. $108 for 2 then, after 14 overs. 6 to go. And Worrell will be back from the pavilion end, our end. So where's Owen Morgan looking to score? There's only one man inside the ring on the leg side, and that is mid-on. Long leg. Backward square, mid-wicket out on the leg side. You'd have thought this is going to be outside of off stump. It's going to be carved by Morgan to point and dropped. Well, that is not something that you're going to want to see a replay of, I'm afraid, Ryan Higgins.
It was hit hard, but straight at him, just above his head. And I think Higgins would have backed himself to catch that. That will go down as a big missed opportunity, I think. Morgan got width and flashed his hands at that. Got a good piece of that delivery. But at this level, I think they would expect to take that. Can Morgan make Gloucestershire pay in these remaining 6 overs?
Well, that's a flick, and well placed in terms of between the two fielders. And a relatively comfortable 2. 2 a ball certainly gets the scoreboard going. 111 now. And Cracknell continues.
Dan Worrell's bowled well. First 2 overs went for just 6. Started this over nicely as well. Ryan Higgins 2 overs for 8. Tom Smith 2 overs 1 for 13. 3 bowlers with fantastic figures.
High. Hard. Handsome. And help if that's your car.
Excellent alliteration there, Macca. That is actually towards my car. I don't think he even got all of that, really, Joe Cracknell. Still sailed miles over the boundary. That's the short side with the big, beautiful trees just by the car park. Cracknell up to 67. So he's chasing down his highest score. 77 against Hampshire off 4.
Right. Umpire Saggers is happy.
Up the ball back. Salter is into him, and Overton sweeping, and shout again from Salter, hitting the pad, running off down towards fine leg. The chase is on.